You know, one of the phrases that we use a lot in our work is a leadership drought. What we mean by that is not that we have a bunch of bad leaders, but that we're going through a seismic shift in organizations. Right now, baby boomers represent about 40% of the workforce in the United States, and similar or greater amounts in other countries. In 10 years, they're only going to represent 10%. And as a consequence, this next generation that we refer to as the Millennials, they were born in the 80s or between the 80s and 2000, they're taking over more and more leadership roles. Matter of fact, half of them are already in leadership roles today. And they're great at strategic thinking, they're great at problem solving because they grew up playing video games. But they tell us that their greatest gap, their greatest need is to develop their interpersonal skills and especially their conflict management skills. And that shift in how well we prepare for it is going to make the difference in whether or not we're successful or we struggle in the future. So when I think about the leadership drought, I'm thinking about who's going to lead the organization in the future. And the first reason that we're facing a drought in a lot of organizations is the pure demographics. But there's another reason why we're facing this drought, and that is that most organizations do not feel that they've properly prepared for this shift in leadership that's going to come over the next several years. As a matter of fact, a study that was done by Deloitte identified leadership development as the #1 priority in companies around the world and the one that they felt the least prepared to respond to. And that's really why we got focused on the Complete Leader program, helping these leaders develop and not just do as well as the people that they replace, but take their companies and their organizations to newer, higher levels than ever before. The reality is it's affecting every organization. And if you don't see it, it's just because it's invisible in your organization today. You will see it dramatically within the next 5 to 10 years. So no matter what kind of organization you're in, whether it's government or profit or not-for-profit, no matter what country you're in, the leadership drought is something that you need to pay attention to if you're going to be a strategic leader. The best thing that you can do today to prepare your organization for this leadership drought is to get a good picture of who you have in the organization right now. Use some science to understand not just where they're at today, but what their potential is for the future. And then developing a much more strategic, aggressive, continuous recruiting program that doesn't just ask for resumes or past experience, but really looks at the whole person, understanding not just what they've performed in the past, but what is their potential in the future. We organized the Complete Leader program because we saw so many different ways that it could help an organization manage and actually optimize this leadership drought, this shift and this challenge with getting enough great leaders to take your organizations forward. We were able to identify 25 leadership skills that every expert I show them to tells me they contain everything that the leader of tomorrow is going to need to know. Of course, not always the same set. Maybe it's 5 or 7 or 8 of the 25, depending on what role the leader's in. But we built this program around identifying the potential, nurturing and developing it, resulting in performance from the people who go through the program.